So, what happens when a company that's famous for absolutely timeless, iconic design decides to reinvent itself for a sustainable future? Well, today we're diving into the world of MillerKnoll to see exactly how they're tackling one of the biggest challenges of our time without losing the soul of their legendary designs.
I mean, it's a great question, right? When your whole identity is built on these mid-century modern classics, how do you innovate for a world that's so focused on climate without watering down what made those designs so special in the first place? That's the big tension we're going to explore. So let's get into their strategy and see how they're doing it.
All right, here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll look at their design legacy. Then we'll unpack their core philosophy on sustainability. After that, we'll see it in action with some of their most famous products, meet the team that's making it all happen, and finally, see how they're aiming to make sustainability the new normal.
Okay, first up, designing for the future. Now, you gotta remember, MillerKnoll isn't just one company. It's this whole collective of design giants, like Herman Miller and Knoll. And yeah, they've cared about the environment for decades, but the climate crisis has basically lit a fire under them, forcing a total reevaluation of how they create, well, everything.
And this is not some new bandwagon for them. Get this, their first formal environmental policy was written way back in 1953. But what's happening now is totally different. It's a fundamental rethinking of design and manufacturing, all driven by this super ambitious vision for the future.
So how does that long history actually translate into action today? Let's dig into their core philosophy, and I want to be clear, this isn't just some marketing slogan. It's a real blueprint that's woven directly into how they develop every single product. Their whole strategy really comes down to these three interconnected pillars. Every single decision, from the materials they pick to how they manufacture stuff, is guided by this simple but really powerful idea: cut carbon, use sustainable sources, and design things that can be used and reused forever. So what does that actually look like? Well, here's their first major goal for 2030. They want to slash the carbon footprint of their top 100 products by a full 25%. That's a real, measurable target that keeps them honest. And they're not just looking at the frames and legs of their furniture. They're also focused on the fabrics. Another big 2030 goal is making sure that over 3/4 of the textiles on their most popular products come from recycled materials. But if you think that's ambitious, their long-term vision for 2050 is on another level. We're talking net zero emissions, meaning they take as much carbon out of the air as they put in. They want to use only bio-based or recycled materials. And they want to design products that create zero waste. This isn't just an improvement, it's a complete transformation of what it means to be a modern design company.
And you know this is serious because it's coming straight from the top. Their CEO, Andy Owen, frames this perfectly. It's not just a nice corporate project. It's a direct response to a global crisis that demands real, concrete action. Okay, now for what I think is the coolest part: reimagining timeless icons. This is where the rubber meets the road. We get to see how they're applying this whole philosophy to the legendary designs that made them famous in the first place, and proving that sustainability can actually make a classic even better. Just look at the iconic Eames Molded Plastic Chair. This timeline tells the whole story. It's been constantly reinvented since the 50s, and now it's being made with 100% recycled plastic. It actually honors the original designer's spirit of always using the best, most innovative materials available. And this slide just makes it crystal clear. They've gone from using brand new virgin plastics to using 100% recycled plastic that comes from their own factory waste. And they did it all without changing that beautiful classic look. And it's not just plastic chairs. Even the legendary Eames lounge chair, the pinnacle of comfort and style, got an incredible sustainable upgrade. We're talking a plant-based leather alternative made from bamboo. How cool is that? And here's the impact. This is not a small change. Just by choosing this bamboo upholstery, you reduce the carbon footprint of that material, so all the energy and emissions it takes to make it, by up to 35%. That's a huge win for a single material swap on such an iconic piece. So these innovations are amazing, but you have to wonder, how does this kind of big change actually happen inside a company? Well, it's not just some order that comes from the top. It really comes from a culture of collaboration and the people on the ground who are passionate about this stuff. At the very heart of this effort is a group called Team Carbon. You can think of them like an internal special ops team. You've got experts from engineering, product design, the supply chain, all of them brought together for one mission: to systematically hunt down and get rid of carbon in every single product.
And the best ideas can seriously come from anywhere. Here's a perfect little story. It all started when someone in marketing just casually mentioned that a chair felt a little too heavy. That one comment kicked off a whole collaboration between developers and engineers that ended up creating a lighter, more sustainable, and just better chair. And this quote from their SVP of Innovation just nails it. The magic of Team Carbon happens when you bring all these different viewpoints together to solve a common problem. It's innovation by teamwork. So all of this leads to their final and maybe most powerful strategic shift: making sustainability the standard. They're moving away from sustainable materials being this special extra cost option to making them the default for everyone. And the results are already pretty staggering. Since just 2020, they've gotten rid of over 1 million pounds of single-use plastic packaging. To put that in perspective, that's like the weight of more than 100 adult elephants. Wow. And it goes way beyond just packaging. They're using plastic that was literally heading for the ocean in their famous Aeron chair. They're getting 75% of their electricity from renewables. And get this, they were the very first in their industry to power all of their global facilities with 100% renewable energy. The commitment is deep, and it's everywhere. And this quote from their director of sustainability just says it all, doesn't it? For them, it's not just about making beautiful furniture. It's about using design as a real tool to make the world a better place. Which really leaves us with this powerful final thought. MillerKnoll is betting its entire legacy on this very question. What they're showing us is that for iconic design to actually have a future, sustainability can't just be a feature you add on. It has to be the very foundation it's built on.